The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with the familiar sound of derision. Ambassador Zethkar of the Hegemony straightened his crystalline exoskeleton and gestured dismissively at the empty seat marked Terra. 5 cycles, he announced to the WoW assembly. 5 cycles since we extended our generous offer of protectorship to the primitive humans, and still they remain silent. His translator rendered his chittering into the common tongue with mechanical precision. Perhaps it is time we stopped pretending they deserve a voice in galactic affairs. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. The Veltari delegations' tentacles swayed in amusement while the gas-form ethereals pulsed with what their species considered laughter. Even the normally diplomatic keepers nodded their elongated skulls in consensus. They possess rudimentary fusion technology and barely achieved faster-than-light travel, added Councillor Thys of the Serpentine Alliance, her forked tongue tasting the air with disdain. Their military consists of crude projectile weapons and chemical propulsion. What threat could they possibly pose? High Arbiter Noxal, an ancient being whose species had ruled the galaxy for millennia, raised one of his 6 arms for silence. The humans' lack of response has been curious. Our intelligence suggests they received our transmission, yet they offer neither submission nor defiance. Submission would be wise, Zethkar interjected. Our preliminary scans show a single inhabited world with laughably primitive defenses. A demonstration of our power would bring them to heel within days. The chamber filled with approving sounds from dozens of species. The Hegemony's warfleet was legendary. Planet crackers that could shatter worlds. Void ships that moved faster than light itself. Energy weapons that could boil oceans. Against such might, humanity's silence seemed like the terrified quiet of prey animals sensing the approach of predators. Very well, Noxal declared, his voice carrying the weight of absolute authority. Deploy the 3rd Fleet to the Sol system. Demand immediate surrender. If they refuse, he left the threat, unspoken but understood. 3 days later, Admiral Vosseran commanded 1,200 vessels as they emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the human system. The sight that greeted them was exactly what intelligence had predicted. A blue-green world orbiting a mundane, yellow star with a handful of primitive space stations and barely a dozen patrol vessels. Pathetic, Vosseran murmured as his flagship sensors painted the tactical display. This will be over within the hour. He opened a channel to the planet below. Humans of Earth, I am Admiral Vosseran of the Galactic Hegemony. Your silence has been noted and deemed an act of defiance. Surrender immediately or face the consequences of your arrogance. The response came not from Earth, but from everywhere at once. Space around the Hegemony fleet shimmered like heat waves, and reality itself seemed to bend. Where moments before there had been empty void, massive structures began materializing, not emerging from hyperspace, but uncloaking from some impossible concealment technology that made them invisible to all sensors. Vosseran's tactical officer, a seasoned veteran of 100 campaigns, stared at his instruments in disbelief. Admiral, I'm reading. This can't be correct. Report, Vosseran snapped, but his voice carried a tremor he hadn't felt in decades. 3,000 vessels. Admiral, they're everywhere. Above us, below us, surrounding the entire fleet. Some of them are... The officer's voice broke. Some of them are larger than mobile battle stations. The largest of the human vessels, a leviathan that dwarfed even the Hegemony's mightiest. Dreadnoughts moved with impossible grace toward the center of the Hegemony formation. As it did, more ships continued to decloak, sleek, predatory designs unlike anything in the galactic databases. A new voice filled the communication channels, calm and distinctly human. Admiral Vosseran, this is Fleet Admiral Chen of the Terran Deep Fleet. Your presence in our system has been noted. Vosseran found his voice. Impossible. Our scans showed... Your scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show, Chen interrupted. Did you really think a species that achieved interstellar travel would reveal their true capabilities to potential enemies? The installations you observed around Earth are civilian infrastructure. Our military assets have been elsewhere. As if to punctuate his words, more ships decloaked throughout the system. not just around Earth, but near every planet, asteroid field, and strategic position. The scope of the deception became clear. Humanity hadn't been hiding a few secret weapons. They had concealed an entire shadow civilization. "Your silence," Vossaran said slowly. "It wasn't fear." "Fear?" Chen's laugh was cold. "Admiral, we've been listening to your transmissions for years. We know about your generous offer of protectorship, your client species, your expansion patterns. We've watched you subjugate 17 different civilizations using the same playbook." The human admiral paused, and when he continued, his voice carried the weight of absolute certainty. "We were never afraid of you, Admiral. We were studying you, learning your tactics, your technology, your weaknesses. Every species you've conquered made the same mistake. They revealed their full strength before they understood their enemy. We chose differently." Vosran looked at his tactical display and felt something he hadn't experienced since his youth: genuine terror. The human fleet wasn't just larger than his own. Their energy signatures suggested technology decades beyond anything the hegemony possessed. What are your terms?" he asked, the words bitter as poison. "Simple," Chen replied. "You will leave our system immediately. You will inform the Galactic Council that humanity declines their offer of protectorship, and you will make it very clear that any future attempts at coercion will be met with a response proportional to the threat." The human admiral paused, and when he spoke again, his voice carried the promise of annihilation. "We are not a client species, Admiral. We are not prey. We are the species that survived ice ages, global wars, and near-extinction events by adapting, by planning, by never giving up. We don't just build weapons. We build contingencies for our contingencies." As the hegemony fleet began its hasty retreat, Vossaran caught a final transmission on a secured channel, not meant for him, but somehow his instruments picked it up anyway. A human voice, speaking to their own command. "Deep Fleet Actual, this is Admiral Chen. Phase 1 complete. The galaxy now knows we exist. Recommend we begin Phase 2 preparations. They'll be back and they won't come alone next time." The reply came immediately. "Understood, Admiral. The Forge Worlds report all production quotas exceeded will be ready." As hyperspace swallowed his retreating fleet, Vossaran realized the terrible truth. Humanity's silence hadn't been weakness. It had been preparation, and the galaxy had just awakened something far more dangerous than they could have imagined, a species that understood the fundamental rule of survival. Sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one that lets you think you're hunting it,